night was cool and the city lights shimmered like stars scattered across the earth, and in the midst of this restless world, there was a man named Daniel, who lived a life many would envy and yet one that felt empty to him. Daniel was a successful CEO, a man who had built an empire with his vision and determination, and yet behind the glass walls of his high-rise office and the expensive suits he wore, there was only silence when he returned home. He was not just a CEO, but a single father, raising his young daughter Emily with all the love and care he could give. Daniel had not thought of love for years, ever since his wife had passed away. He had buried that part of his heart beneath work and fatherhood. His days were filled with meetings, deadlines, and late nights, and his only joy was Emily, who brought light to his otherwise weary life. He had friends, but most had given up trying to bring him back into the world of laughter and companionship, until one evening his closest friend Adam decided to push him out of his comfort zone. Adam called him while he was still in the office. "Daniel, you need a break, man. I have a friend who set up a blind date, but I cannot make it, so you go instead. Think of it as doing me a favor." Daniel chuckled, tired from a long day. "You want me to go on a blind date for you?" Adam insisted. "Exactly, just have dinner with her. You don't have to commit to anything. Just enjoy a night out. You deserve it." Daniel shook his head, but finally gave in against his better judgment. After all, what harm could one evening do? The next evening, Daniel arrived at the small, cozy restaurant where the date was set. It was not one of the grand, luxurious places he was used to dining in. It was warm, simple, filled with the soft hum of conversations and laughter, the kind of place that felt alive and genuine. He looked around, expecting to see someone polished and sophisticated, someone his friend Adam would usually meet. But then his eyes landed on a young woman sitting by the window, nervously tucking her hair behind her ear. Her name was Lily. She wore a simple dress, nothing extravagant, and her hands fidgeted slightly. As she waited, Daniel walked over and introduced himself, expecting just a polite exchange and a quick dinner. But the moment their eyes met, something unexpected stirred in him. There was a softness in her gaze, a warmth that cut through the armor he had built around himself. She smiled shyly, and in that smile, he saw more sincerity than he had in years. They began to talk, and as the minutes turned into hours, Daniel found himself forgetting the weight of his responsibilities. Lily was not from his world. She told him about her life, about how she worked 2 part-time jobs to support her mother who was ill, about how she had dreams, but most of them were put aside for survival. There was no pretense in her words. She spoke with honesty and a quiet strength that pulled Daniel in. He listened intently, feeling a connection he could not explain. As they laughed over small jokes and shared stories, Daniel realized something startling. He was falling for her, and it was not because of how she looked or what she wore, but because of who she was. She was real. She was kind. She was everything his world of boardrooms and business deals lacked. At one point, Lily asked about him. He hesitated, unsure whether to reveal the truth about his life and his wealth, but then he chose honesty. He told her he was a single father, and that his daughter Emily was the most important part of his life. Lily's eyes lit up with admiration. "You must be a wonderful father," she said softly, and Daniel felt his heart melt. When the evening ended, they stepped outside into the cool night air, and Lily smiled, thanking him for the company. Daniel offered to walk her home, though she resisted at first. Eventually she agreed, and they walked together through quiet streets. She lived in a modest neighborhood far from the glittering skyline of Daniel's world. Her apartment was small, but she carried herself with grace. Daniel stood outside the building, reluctant to leave. Over the next few days, Daniel found himself thinking of Lily constantly. He had dinners with investors, lunches with clients, and endless meetings, but in the quiet moments his mind drifted back to her laughter, her eyes, her strength. He had not felt this alive in years, so he called her again and asked to see her. She agreed hesitantly at first, not knowing what place she could possibly have in his life, but the more time they spent together, the more undeniable their bond became. Emily soon met Lily, and to Daniel's surprise, his daughter adored her. Lily had a natural kindness that children gravitated toward. She played with Emily, listened to her stories, and made her laugh in ways Daniel had not seen since his wife passed away. Seeing them together stirred emotions in him that words could not capture. He began to imagine a future he never thought possible. But reality was not kind. Rumors began to spread as people noticed Daniel spending time with Lily. Some of his business partners whispered that she was beneath him, that she was after his money, that a CEO should not be seen with someone. Of her background, Lily heard the whispers too, and one evening with tears in her eyes she told Daniel, "I cannot let people think I am using you. Your world and mine, they are too far apart." Daniel took her hands and looked at her with unwavering conviction. "I do not care what they think. I care about you. I care about Emily. I care about the way you make me feel alive again." Still, the doubts lingered for Lily. Her life had always been about sacrifice, and she could not imagine being part of Daniel's glittering world. But Daniel was determined to show her that love was stronger than any divide. He brought her into his life, not as a stranger, but as someone who belonged. He introduced her to his closest friends and to his board members. He stood by her when others judged, and slowly people began to see what he saw, that Lily was not defined by her struggles, but by her spirit. One evening, Daniel invited Lily and her mother to his home. It was a large house but filled with warmth as Emily and Lily played together. Laughter echoed through halls that had long been silent. Daniel's mother, who had worried for years that her son would never love again, saw the joy in his eyes and took Lily's hand, whispering, "Thank you for giving my son back his smile." The journey was not without challenges. There were nights when Lily doubted herself and days when Daniel was torn between work and love. But through it all, they held on to each other. Daniel realized that success meant nothing without someone to share it with, and Lily realized that love was not about wealth, but about being seen, truly seen for who you are. Months passed, and their bond only grew stronger. Daniel found himself no longer just living for his company, but for the small moments that made life beautiful: a shared meal, a walk in the park, Emily's laughter, and Lily's hand in his. Finally, one evening, under the soft glow of city lights, Daniel took Lily to the same cozy restaurant where they had first met. He looked into her eyes and spoke from the heart. "I came here that night expecting nothing. It was just supposed to be a favor for a friend. But instead I found you, and I do not ever want to let you go." Lily's eyes filled with tears as she realized the depth of his love, and for the first time she allowed herself to believe in a future where she did not have to carry the burden alone. She whispered back, "I love you, Daniel." And in that moment, the walls between their worlds crumbled. Their story was not about wealth or status. It was about a man who had lost hope and a woman who had never given up, about a child who found a mother figure she adored, and about love that bloomed where no one expected it to together. They built a life, not perfect, but real, filled with laughter, kindness, and the quiet certainty that sometimes the most unexpected encounters lead to the greatest love of all.